Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. I shall we see what's going on on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where the astute or among us. Wait, no, wait, that's not. What's the Among Us sound? Something like that, right? I haven't played it for years. I don't really remember, but the astute among you will very much realise that I did not upload the new series today. Is again another episode of Tunic because I didn't finish the Fun out last night. Pure laziness. I'm just gonna say this on my behalf. I was just like I was too tired, I suppose, to do it. But I should do it today, hopefully. Fingers crossed. If not, then you'll get, I don't know what you'll get. I guess you'll get another episode of Rail Pound, and then you'll get 3 episodes of the new series next week. But hello everyone, right now in Fawnhollow at 6:12 PM on Friday, September 22nd, 2023. Where is my thing? Here it is. Excuse me, I forgot what I was going to say. I guess I'll just continue the holiday talk. Because I mean, like, what else is there to do? You know, it's I very much milk my recreational activities, I suppose, for as much of a conversational fodder as I can. And you know, being on holiday is a fantastic one. And in fact, I don't even think I finished talking about all the things I did in my Spain holiday from earlier this year, which is amusing. And it's not, well, I mean, we did do a lot of stuff, let's be real, but it's also because, like, I talk about, like, one particular thing on one day, and there's, like, 8 different things which happen on a day, so it takes me forever to get through, and I don't think I made it through the entire holiday, to be perfectly honest. What did I even talk about last time? Chopping wood. I didn't even talk about the airport stuff. I feel like the airport stuff is always the most fun part, but, I mean, I say it a lot, that it's not my favourite part of a holiday anymore. Like, that's obviously an insane take, but if I really wanted to be quite funny, I would be like, yeah, it's my favourite part of a holiday, but something very interesting about the liminal spaces, I suppose, that an airport holds. It's sort of like it feels like a time between worlds, if anything, which is why I enjoy it, so much. But yeah, chopping wood we talked about yesterday, and we talked about the villa. Swimming pool, I don't really know if there's much to say about the swimming pool. There was a lot of cats about, I can say that much. I'm just sort of scrolling down, seeing like what would be the next great conversational thing to talk about. It's nice selfies of me. Oh, nice photos of my friends as well. I don't even know where this photo was taken. This photo was not taken on a holiday. Surely that doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, we weren't too far away from this like bakery thing. Oh yeah, you know, this is actually an interesting thing to talk about. I can't remember what the food item was called, but basically where we stayed was not too far away from a bakery. I will say where we stayed was incredibly hilly because, I mean, despite the fact it wasn't that far away from a bakery, you had to walk up and down a lot of steps to get to places, because basically there was a 5-star resort at the beach or whatever. Fair enough, you know, it's a 5-star resort, and then you had to walk up like uphill for not directly uphill. It was a bit more of a windy path, and there's a load of stairs to get to the bakery. I mean, you had to do it again to get to the place we were staying. It's very much down sort of like winding streets. Like it was like an alleyway between 2 houses. Like I remember me and one of my friends, we were both walking down there, and we just like saw some cats. And obviously, we were walking in between people's houses, and we were just like trying to get the cats over to us. And the person who lived there just walked out. We were just like, oh, whoops, it's a bit awkward. I mean, I don't really think we said much. I think we were just like, oh, you have really cute cats, because obviously I cannot say that in Croatian. And we just left. But I mean, they seemed pretty good-hearted about the entire thing, to be perfectly honest. I don't think they were just like, get out of my lawn or anything. They were just like, what a bunch of strange tourists, which, you know, fair enough. I feel like you very much owned that right as a local living there. And also, I mean, Dubrovnik itself is very much a tourism-based city. Like, I can't remember who I was talking to someone who was there, and they brought it up, and I was like, the majority of the economics in Dubrovnik is fueled by tourism, which is why they basically work during like the holiday season during summer, and then when it's not holiday season, they all just go, they all just leave or don't work or something like that, which is totally fair. You know, I mean, you work hard during peak season, I suppose, and you take the time off afterwards. So this is a nice one. We went down to like the beach, I suppose. Let's go to the beach. Let's go get away. They say what you're going to say, but no, that's what I was going to talk about, the bakery thing, because it was pretty good. It was a pretty good bakery thing. I mean, it's always interesting, I think, going to like these smaller chain. Chain isn't really the right word, but smaller places to get food items. Like, look, I'm not going to say local food, because I'm not going to pretend that I'm going into all like these really small like bars or cafes and being like, ooh, give me your actual like local dish, because, you know, I'm not that experience. No, I would do that if I could, but you know, I'm not that familiar, obviously, with a place. I'm not a local. Yeah, it's the most obvious answer, isn't it? So I don't know about all these like small hole-in-the-wall situations. All the best I can really do is, you know, look on Google Maps or look at like what other people recommend and reviews, or word of mouth, I suppose, by my other friends that are seeing things. But this bakery, I don't even know why or how we found it. I think it was one of my... I keep saying one of my friends as if it helps narrow it down, because I could be referring to any one of them. But I think one of my friends, I'm picturing in my head who it is. You can, I suppose, picture in your head and make up who it is. I think she found it. She was looking at like places near where we were staying and just saw this bakery, and it was really cool. So it's a nice bakery. I mean, they had things which you would, I shouldn't say you would expect necessarily, because I don't know necessarily if I would expect what I would expect from a Croatian bakery. I don't know how different or not different it would be, but I mean, food, there tends to be some very universal things, I suppose, in food. And, you know, unsurprisingly, there tends to be a lot of influence, I suppose, from other cultures, I suppose, which come back and forth. So, you know, certainly nowadays, I think that's a good thing, by the way. And don't make me say that as it's hating. I mean, I think it's good and it's cool that you can go to like a bakery and you can be like, oh, you can get some like local things, but you can also get some things which are a bit more familiar to you. I don't remember exactly everything I had, because I only went to the bakery, I think, in person like once or twice. Most of the other times it was other people going, and they were just like, do you want to pick stuff up? But I remember the first time I was there, I had actually, it was on my first night. Actually, we'll save that conversation thing for afterwards. But I think I had like, I think it was basically kind of like a chocolate donut, except for it was more like a chocolate roll. It was basically like a bread roll, except for it just was like filled with like Nutella or chocolate spread or some kind. Which is, you know, exactly what it sounded like to me. But I ordered it anyway, because I was just like, this is the only thing where I'm just like, I don't immediately recognize what it is. Because there are things like donuts, and I was like, oh, obviously I know what a donut is. And I'm talking about filled donuts, not the ring donuts. Whenever I refer to donuts, I always think of the filled donuts first instead of ring donuts, but still. There were things like cinnamon rolls. There were some like pastries, from what I recall. But there was actually one thing which I didn't recognise, but it was something I had the day before, which is why I didn't order it, because it's like a big meal sort of thing. But I cannot remember what it's called, and I know someone sent the name of it in the group chat, so I had to look it up afterwards. But yeah, I basically had this bread roll just with chocolate, and it was fine. Like it's a good breakfast, and I didn't want anything particularly heavy, and I was like, okay, you know, it works. I think they sold pizza as well, but they had this thing which reminded me so much of a Chinese dish called like xiaobing. That's my Beijing accent. No, is that my Beijing accent? Xia, ro xia, which is like mince bing. I don't know what it would be necessarily called in English. Xianbing, probably. Chinese meat pie is what it's called in English. Okay, fair enough. Not quite these ones, because the ones pictured are like the small ones, but you can get this. You can get a variation, which is like a really big one. But basically, bing, sorry, wrong tone, is basically a sort of generic term in Chinese for like this sort of bready pancake like thing. It's not quite like bread, it's not quite like a pancake, I would say. I don't really know how best to describe it using like more Western foods as an analogy. It's sort of like in between of like a bread pancakey thing and maybe like a fried pie crust. Nah, and it's not really a pie crust. I mean, I guess it's kind of like the same sort of dough-esque thing, like a whoa, new item, like a dumpling. So I guess theoretically, if you took a dumpling or like a bao bun, I mean, just like squished it down, I suppose it's not too dissimilar. I mean, you fried it in a pan; it's not too dissimilar to that sort of thing. But there's also this like larger version, which I mean, is also called being, well, it's also called being. How I call it, but it might have a more specific name, I don't know. But they had this thing which was basically exactly like that. I can't remember exactly the detail. I think it was during a barbecue, like one of my friends or a group of my friends went to go to the bakery to just like order some food to bring back, and they just say, hey, you know, dear darling, do you want to try this? And I tried it, and I was like, wow, this is so much like something in Chinese. And there was another friend who was also Chinese, and you know, she said the same thing later when she had it. She was like, I like it a lot, it reminds me of this thing in Chinese. And I was like, is it xiaobing? And she was like, yeah. And it was like, oh my god, same. Oh my god, bestie, so true. I didn't say it like that because I don't really talk like that. But yeah, oh, what was it called? Maybe I could. Ah, yes, I called it a meat pancake bing thing, and then a friend who knew the actual name of it called it meat borak. Is that what it's called? Meat borak. I think so. I mean, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't look quite the same. Oh no. Okay, borak with a 2 dots over yo. It's a family of pastry pies found in the Balkans, Middle East, and Central Asia. That's fair. I don't know if Croatia has its own specific type, but it's not like this roll thing. The Wikipedia page is more what it looked like. It's like a savoury pie. Yeah, I guess that's a good way to describe it. Probably how I would describe being as well. Yeah, it's kind of like a savoury pie, but the crust is not like a pie crust in the same sense. The Chinese one is much more like a dumpling, like a fried dumpling sort of crust. But it's very nice. I like it. Yeah, no, it was basically my favourite thing. But it's interesting to see basically what I was getting at is like all these different cultures. They all have their own like version of a cuisine. Isn't it like every culture's got like I forget what the thing is, but there's like certain types of food where it's like every culture has their own version of X, Y, Z. The only one I can think of right now is dumplings, because you know you got like obviously dumplings, jiaozi in wait, is that right? Jiaozi. Is it second tone? I should look this up. I should know this, but my tones are just completely incorrect all the time, because I did not learn them all that well when I studied Chinese. Why can I not just? I don't know why I didn't just search Jiaozi. What are the tones? What are the tones? Let's see. Jiaozi. Okay, it's third tone. Never mind. I should know that, but I didn't. I guess I don't really talk about dumplings all that often, maybe. But yeah, obviously in Chinese we in English you would call it dumplings, but jiaozi, and then you would have like in Japanese you have gyoza, which is very similar to be. I mean, they're both inspired from basically the same thing. I don't know what they call it in Korean actually. It's probably something also quite similar. Korean word for dumplings. In my head it's like mandu, but that sounds like it is mandu. I don't, but that is not similar at all. I guess it must not be from Chinese. I don't know, etymology. Ugi Manta Turkey. Oh, it might be from Turkey. Oh, it might be like mantou from Chinese. Oh, I didn't really think about that. I don't know why I walked in here, by the way. And then you have like a much more like an Eastern European. Actually, wait, are empanadas Spanish? Okay, never mind. No, hold on. What's an Eastern European dumpling? Empanadas, yes, is a like the Latin version of a dumpling. Quote, isn't it? I mean, it's not really the same thing. I guess if you take dumpling as a very sort of vague thing of like you have some sort of dough-based outer shell and then have some sort of filling, commonly meat, but you know, of course, it doesn't have to be meat on the inside. Then of course that would be a dumpling, but I guess it's kind of more like a pastry. I mean, I guess you could say that for like Western cuisine as well. You have like things like pasties and pies, not too dissimilar. I wouldn't really put them in the same thing. But what was it? Every culture has its. Is it dumpling or? Almost every culture and country has its very own dumpling. Dumpling drama where one user claims almost every culture has some form of dumpling. Why is this drama? Wait, why am I in here? I don't even know. Has Spawn ever never heard of an empanada? What is going on in this Reddit thing? China is 100% not the only country with food origins that include wrapping a filling in dough. Some sort of... Oh, I see. This person is saying that it doesn't exist. it's not worth it reading that conversation. And I looked at it and I was like, that increasingly as I spend more time online, which is basically equivalent to increasingly as I get older, I have far less interest in reading these conversations in Reddit. I go on Reddit just to get like the headline news titles for hobbies I'm interested in. I don't use it as a news aggregate source. I will tell you not to do that either. But when I'm like, oh, what's the latest news in League of Legends? Or like, you know, what are the newer skins? Or like, you know, what's happening in the gaming sphere or something in E3 and what announcements happen? Fantastic. And you go into the comments and you start, you know, the first few comments are probably like okay-ish. But then as you get down, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm just like, I should stop doing this. And this applies to all social media. It's not like Reddit's a particularly special case. Oh, the dumplings of a world charts. That sounds like exactly what I wanted. How many of these do I know? Pelmeni. Motskin. Manti. Gnocchi. Ah, gnocchi. Oh, yeah, gnocchi dumpling. I would have said like ravioli or tortellini. It feels like it's more closer to the sort of dumpling adjacency in Italian. But yeah, again, I'm not Italian, so what do I know? Noodle. Yomari. Raspel. Lukaima. Sosglitch. I don't know any of these. Zhongzi in China. What? Oh, this is Dumplings Around the World Part 2, I see. These are more obscure ones. Momo? In Tibet, true. Samosa. Samosas are very good. I'm not gonna lie. I do like samosas quite a lot. Gujia. Never heard of. Xiaojia. Okay. Jiaozi. Mandu. Dango? Dango? Really? I mean, Japan has gyoza. Oh, I mean, the next one is gyoza. Fair enough. I'm not sure if I put dango on there as a dumpling adjacent. Oh, I guess it's adjacent. Siomai. Oh, siomai in Indonesia. I wonder if that probably has the same word origins as siomai. Or siomai or whatever it's actually called. Oh, pierogi. That's what I was thinking of. Pierogi, not empanada. I always get those two confused for some reason. But pierogi is like the Eastern European or Central European, as it also says on here, sort of dumpling. You know, just all the cultures, they got dumplings. Empanadas, is that one? Apple dumpling in US. Pult, Sweden. Ravioli, here it is, in Italy. Norfolk dumpling in UK. I've never even heard of this. Noodle, you're married. Creamat. Modak, fufu. Xiaolongbao. I mean, China's on here many times. I'm not to say that, you know, I would probably expect China to have the most dumpling related things because, I mean, if it's used as a sort of baseline comparison thing, that seems a bit unfair. But yeah, I don't know. But basically, dumplings of a world. I mean, I wasn't even talking about dumplings. What I was basically just saying is that, like, you know, unsurprisingly, cultures independently of each other will probably, well, maybe not even independently, maybe they are influenced by each other, but will end up developing similar sort of foods, you know? I mean, if you, especially back in ye olden days, when you didn't have as many, like, luxurious access to foods and all around the world like we do now, I suppose, you know, you have a limited amount of ways to sort of have a combinations of, you know, like flour, water, meats, vegetables, and maybe butter all together. So unsurprisingly, you know, similar food items I think crop up multiple times. And, you know, it just was interesting, you know, I suppose. My friend, like, offering me a food item, me internally being like, wow, this looks like a lot like a being from Chinese cuisine, eating it and being like, wow, this tastes like also quite a lot like a xiaobing. And then being like, and you might be like, oh, then are you going to have a dissuasive attitude to that? Be like, oh, this is terrible. Wow, like, why, I can't believe they stole our culture. And I'd be like, no, this is awesome. It rocks, you know? Croatia, you got your own. Croatia can also enjoy the taste of xiaobing. I mean, it's not exactly the same, obviously. It tastes different, I would say. But it reminds me of it. It's more like, I was going to say homage, but homage is the wrong word because then that sounds like it's a tribute to it. Well, it's not tribute. It's just like they're similar food items. And, you know, I liked it a lot. So then one of the days where I had to have basically like the quickest lunch I've ever had, which, you know, that'll be a conversation for one point in between two activities very close together. I just like chowed down on one of those. It was great. What was it called again? Burek. Anyway, I'm going to round this episode up here, I think. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials down below. And I hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.